Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you, and today we are going to compare RAD140, also known as Testolone, to RAD150, also known as Sustolone. But before we get into that, just a big shout out, thank you, gratitude, appreciation, absolutely love all of you. Thank you for the support, the likes, the comments, the subs, the emails, the comments. I cannot thank you enough. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe, share, like, whatever you can do. It helps the channel grow tremendously. Feed that algorithm for me. I cannot thank you enough. So this is not going to be a tremendously long video. There's not a ton to get into, but there are some little bits and pieces here that I need to explain to you about the differences between these two. RAD150 is different, obviously, or it wouldn't have another form from 140. So let's kind of dive into that. Like I said, it's not going to be a super long video because there's not a ton of difference here, but I do want to explain what actually it is and what could make it a little bit more optimal for you. RAD150 is very new. We know that, and one of the reasons that I've been hesitant to talk about it is because there's just not a lot out there on it. I'm going to be using it here in my next SARM cycle, so I'll have a log up, and we'll be discussing that as well. RAD140 to me is the king, and I put out the RAD140 King of SARMs video so you can watch that. So how do these stack up? How do they compare? Now, like I said, 150 is so new that it has really small amounts of clinical data available, if any. So to back up the claims and like the safety profiles and all of that, we're basing most of this off user reviews, people like that I've coached and seen, things that I've read, followed, anything and everything I've been able to get my hands on in terms of following, watching, and seeing. So let's look at it like this, because it's kind of similar in this regard when you compare, let's say, Stenabolic SR9009 and GW501516. They both have very similar properties, and they're both extremely, extremely effective. All right, and we know this. But GW is obviously the senior compound. It's been around a lot longer, and it's been studied a lot more, and it's been used a lot more. So the same thing kind of goes here. It's a turnoff for some people that RAD150 doesn't have the research to back it up, and I totally understand that. That's why I am the way I am. What's supposed to distinguish them is the duration, all right, because RAD150 is esterified, so it's got a much longer half-life. So with RAD150, it's got like a 48-hour half-life as opposed to a 24-hour half-life, which is good because it takes a lot longer to exit your body. It's in your body longer. It could provide more blood stability to you, and you could argue that you could dose it every other day if you'd like. I still like the everyday dosing, but you probably most certainly could do every other day dosing with this, being that it has a longer half-life. You know, it's basically attempting and providing you to have a more stable serum level, and the compound over time is supposed to result in better muscle gain. Not everybody believes that. Not everybody feels that they have seen that, and some people have, some people haven't. RAD140 is generally considered to be one of the most selective of all SARMs, meaning that it has some of the least unwanted side effects, and that's a property that's been retained in RAD152. It also has the same, apparently, neuroprotective effects that RAD140 has, and appears to be the same sort of compound in general. Some of the things are unclear, but that seems all the same. It's still, I would recommend 12 to 14 weeks on it, 20 to 30 milligrams per day. If you can afford to pay for the 30 milligrams a day, that's going to have the most effect for you, but you're still going to get a tremendous amount on 20 milligrams a day. Trust me. I've done it both ways. They're both tremendous. It's just like S4. If you can get higher on S4 and your body allows it, you're going to get a little more out of it. You can see that, but it's still going to be extremely effective at the normal 50 milligram dose. There's just a lot of anecdotal evidence out there that shows these pretty much resulting with very similar results. But some people do believe that 150 is the stronger or bigger brother. Just remember that it stays in your body for 2 days rather than just one. So to me, that's a turn on, and I think that's a good thing. Other than that, there's really not a lot that I can tell you that's different that anybody's seen, experienced, structurally, etc. But for some, that's going to be a big deal. Now, not a ton of places have this. There are some good places that have it. I've done my SARMS company reviews. Both of those companies have them. That would be Umbrella Labs and SARMS.for-sale, the two that I feel are the best companies out there. But, you know, there are places that have it. That's where I would recommend getting it because I know you can trust them, and I covered all of that. But that's the difference between the two. It's not a ton, but you do need to understand what it is, why, and the possibilities of possibly a little bit more out of it. And possibly being able to dose it every other day as opposed to every single day. So that's it. That being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli signing off.